Today I am going to teach you about retelling, which means just how it sounds, the retelling of a story. But retelling is more than just regurgitating memorized facts from a book. It is meant to demonstrate comprehension of sequenced events that have taken place in the story. Retelling activates children's memories and engages children in the process of interpreting pictures. Most importantly, retelling involves wordless books and have become more commonplace in middle years classrooms just recently. Each educator's approach to retelling will vary, meaning there is no right or wrong way to retell a story so long as the goal of retelling is achieved. Then students will be able to synthesize the main idea, known as sequencing. This is done primarily by linking order of events using words such as first, next, then, and last. Again, retelling is best done with wordless picture books, but some teachers may use film for students to practice reading comprehension, inferencing, asking questions, and other literacy skills that come with the process of retelling. Now, let me show you how to retell a story. The story I've chosen for today is called Fly by Mark Teague. First, we can see on the front cover, a bird standing on the edge of its nest looking down. Somewhat scared, maybe. I wonder what he's afraid of. Next, there's a series of images of what appears to be a baby bird, crying, then looking around, and he doesn't appear to be having a very good time. Let's see what's going on. In here, we've got a baby bird poking out of its egg. So first, we see a mother bird, maybe a robin by the look of her red belly, feeding her baby bird a worm. We can see the mother bird repeats this action a few times, and each time the baby bird gets a little more feathers and appears a little bit more and more upset. Next, we see the baby bird has grown much bigger by now, and the mama bird continues to get her baby his food. However, depending on which way you read this, mama bird appears to have stopped at the end of the branch where her son angrily demands for her to come and feed him his worm, as she has done so many times previously. But mama bird is just as angry and demands that he comes out of his nest before she feeds him. And we can see this by their facial expressions and paying attention to the speech bubbles, the thought bubbles here, and what each bird is thinking. So, based on this image here, it's safe to infer that the images showing in the beginning of the book were of the baby bird not wanting to leave his nest. Next, we can see baby bird becomes very upset, and we can tell by the exclamation mark he is thinking worm, 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 worm. I want my worm. And the baby bird gets so upset he jumps right out of his nest, and we see him fall, and we see the worm fall out of his mother's mouth as she watches in shock her son fall out of his nest and down to the ground. Mother bird swoops down to her son and looks at him with sternness in her eyes, or perhaps it's concern. Is she surprised that her son does not know how to fly? Baby bird is not so much a baby anymore, and by the look on his face, he knows he better listen up to what his mother is about to say. So here we can tell by the speech bubble coming from the mother bird that she is encouraging her son to try and fly up to their bird's nest on his own. But he looks doubtful and looks down in disappointment and chirps to his mother, thinking he wants her to fly him on her back with the worm in his mouth. This would be preferred by the baby bird. And here we can see again the speech bubble, or the thought, the speech bubble. I think the birds are speaking to one another in their bird language. So then Mama Bird begins to share the history of their family lineage and ancestry, describing the different kinds of birds. I wonder if we can see which I think this is clearly an eagle, maybe a pigeon, not a pigeon, a seagull, a hawk, an owl, and maybe a blue jay. Maybe there's a robin in there. But her son would rather take a hot air balloon up into the sky to get from place to place, and his mother is not really having it. She doesn't like this idea. She's opposed to it, and well, her son begins to suggest different ways of getting around by air. So now I'm not going to do the lesson anymore. I'm going to engage in active engagement with students to practice the skill of retelling. So we will do this together. So here we have him on a different type of, it looks like maybe a kite. It's actually called a hang glider. So first he is here, he's suggesting to take a hang glider to get through the air. Then next he suggests downhill skiing and taking flight by force and pressure of a ramp, which will send him soaring through the sky. Has anybody ever skied before and been plummeted into the air? I surely have not. And next we have what appears to be a plane. I'm sure some students have ridden in a plane before. It can be an enjoyable experience sometimes, and other times it can be kind of scary for some people. And then we have him here, and I wonder why he's laughing at the thought of the red cape. Which superhero can we think of? Most likely Superman. So he's joking at this point. He's not taking the flying thing so seriously. And what's happening here? Mama Bird is fuming. She's not too impressed by her son's funny business. So now what's happening here? This is again speech bubbles, and so we have the mother talking to her son, and we can see by the first speech bubble the changing color of the leaves, which suggests autumn has arrived. And here we have Mother Bird flying away, and the sun is flying behind her, and we've got other birds flying in a direction, making that sort of triangle arrow. Have you ever seen birds flying in the sky and making that pattern before? Where are they going, and for what reason? So next to this speech bubble is a picture of a sign which reads, "Greetings from Florida, land of sunshine." Mother bird is describing the scenario of migration and is telling her son he is going to have to fly to Florida when the time comes. But her son has a different idea, and instead, he'd rather ride a bicycle there. Notice how he's wearing a helmet. Now students can begin to list all the different ways that the baby bird is suggesting to get to Florida. So what about a skateboard, he suggests, or driving a car? He would even take a train if he has to. Lastly, and by now it looks like he may be running out of ideas, baby bird would rather take a pogo stick all the way to Florida. His mother looks at him in all seriousness in her eyes. Got any more bright ideas? But he's all burnt out by now. His mother then insists, "You will fly to Florida." Baby bird begins to stomp his feet and cry out loud by the thought of it. So at this point, students will be handed out worksheets to fill in as we go along throughout the rest of the story to prepare them for the last component of the mini lesson. So they'll fill in each box as they hear any of the words first, next, then, or last. First, Mama Bird asks her son, "What will you do when a big, scary dog approaches you?" Then, Baby Bird says, "He will lick me," which is the dog's way of showing affection. Then, next, Mama Bird asks, "And what about a fat cat who wants to eat you?" Baby Bird responds, "If anything, that fat cat will be scared of me." First, Mama Bird is worried now and asks her son, "What about at nighttime when owls can see you in the dark? What will you do then?" Then, Baby Bird looks at his mother and asks, "Owl?" It doesn't seem like Baby Bird knows what an owl is. Next, Baby Bird scooches up to his mama and begins to look up to her intently. It's nighttime now. They've been at it all day. Then Mama Bird flies away, leaving her son in tears. He does not want her to go. He feels stranded, lost, hopeless. Kind of looks like he might be throwing a little bit of a tantrum. Have we ever thrown a tantrum before? Lastly, he begins to take flight, and in so many ways makes his way up to the nest where his mother is waiting for him. And here we can see they are cozied up together, sound asleep.